What's going on? It's Ben here from Step Pals. Welcome back to the How I Lost the Weight podcast. In this episode, we're sitting down with Caleb, who goes by Cal Balanced on social media, and he has lost over 100 pounds. So from his peak weight, he has dropped over 100 pounds, I think 105 to be exact. And in this episode, we walk through exactly how he did it, how he tracks his macros, how he chose his macros in the first place, and what kinds of foods he eats on an ongoing basis to maintain the weight loss that he's worked really hard to achieve or that he didn't work really hard to achieve. You'll get what I mean when we get into the episode, but let's hear from Caleb. Let's get into it. Caleb, how are you, man?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome to the How I Lost the Weight podcast. Super excited for this one. As you know, I found you on Instagram. Love your content. You've built a very big community incredibly quickly. Your story is really cool. So super excited for the conversation today.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm excited.
So where should we start? Why don't we start with when you started posting? Because you've not been posting very long, but you've blown up quite quickly.
Yeah, it's still kind of surreal to me. So I started posting about 2 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah, my wife and I, we just started this weight loss series, and a lot of people have seemed to like it, and they wanted to follow along our journey. So I think before that, I was posting a little bit, but like only consistently about 2 months.
That's amazing. And how many followers are you at already?
I'm about to hit 10K probably in the
That's
next couple of days.
in 2 months.
Yeah.
That's absurd, dude.
Still
Well,
still kinda hard to process,
that's
but
crazy.
it's
When
cool.
you think about how many people that actually is, that's an insane number to attract that quickly. So congrats to both you and your wife. That's a big deal.
Thank you, yeah.
So what was the motivation to start the page?
So, I used to be obese. I used to weigh 265 pounds at my heaviest, and I lost around 70 pounds while I was serving a mission for my church. I was in Brazil, and funnily enough, I didn't lose any weight because I was working out, like, in the gym or anything like that. I was actually just it was just because I was walking so much, and that's why I kind of enjoy, Step Pals a lot too, because I I think that there's a lot of power in just walking, because lots of people think you have to go to the gym and eat a super dialed diet, but it's not true. You just have to be in a calorie deficit, and walking is something that can get you there. So,
100%. That's incredible, man. So you lost 75 pounds while out there and mostly from walking. That does speak to the power of walking. And that's why I built the app in the first place is when I ever get too heavy, I just make walking a major priority. And I always find that it's pretty easy to get back down to a good weight because you don't feel a lot more hungry when you're walking, unlike other forms of exercise. Like when you lift heavy or if you're doing like HIIT training, it typically stimulates your appetite a lot more. Whereas walking, we were built as humans to walk long distances so you can do it for a long period of time. So that's awesome to hear. So did you lose the weight almost by accident then when you were out there?
yeah, so I wasn't trying to at all. It was really just because we were walking around so much. Maybe if I had to guess, I didn't have a fitness tracker back then, but if I had to guess, I would say we walked it anywhere from like 10 miles a day on average. So, yeah, the weight just came off super quick because I was super
Dang.
sedentary before. I did not exercise a lot. I mean, I still exercise, but very little compared to what I was doing, walking all around Brazil. So that really made a big difference, and I would say that the diet that I was eating there in Brazil was a lot healthier too, but
Okay.
then again, I was eating a lot of calories because
You
the
needed
people in
it.
Brazil, they like to feed you really well. Like,
Okay.
there's a lot of good food there, but
That's amazing. Wow. Okay. So what were you eating that was different there than back in the States?
yeah, so before I went to Brazil on my mission, I was eating a lot of fast food for sure. Um, and they don't really have that much fast food there. Um, so they eat a lot of rice and beans and chicken, a lot of lean meats, which is
Hmm.
good. Trying to think what else. Just a lot of fruit too. That was a big change for me.
Nice.
I really enjoyed it there. It just kind of shifted my whole perspective of food being there because I was like, wow, I feel good when I'm eating this stuff. I don't feel
Wow.
like crap.
That's super important because most people that are on the same diet and they've been there for a long time, if they feel the same way for a long enough time, they don't realize they're even feeling bad anymore because that's just their baseline, right? And so
Mhm.
giving yourself that extended opportunity. How long were you on that trip for?
2 years,
Oh,
so
wow, you were there for a while.
yeah.
Okay, okay, amazing. So you lost 75 pounds in 2 years without even really trying from walking all the time. That's
Yeah, it
amazing. So
was
then
70 pounds, sorry,
70
just
pounds. Okay. No,
yeah,
no, you're good. I think I must have screwed that up. So
you're
you
good.
lose 70 pounds, you come back. What got you into fitness? Because now you're into fitness in a major way. You're in super good shape. Like, what was the light switch moment?
That's a great question. So, I think it was just a lot of people there in Brazil, they had seen similar situations with other missionaries and other people that like Americans that had come there, lost a lot of weight, and then they go back to the United States and then they gain all the way
Mm.
back. And so there was a lot of people that were like, "You're just gonna get it all back whenever you get back to the USA." And I could see how that could happen, but I don't want that to happen. And so I got home and I didn't really know as much, like nearly as much about like nutrition and fitness as I do now. But I was like, I'm gonna get into running. So I started just trying to do some running on I think it's an app called Couch to 5K or something. Yeah, so I got into running and I also just started trying to eat healthier. I didn't really know about calorie tracking back then yet. So I was just kind of in a weird phase where I was still discovering things and I still didn't really know you think I would have known that walking was a good way to lose weight, but still thought maybe I just need to get into running to lose more weight because I think at that point I was around 190 pounds, and
Okay.
so I was still overweight. I wasn't obese anymore, but I was overweight still. And I think just starting to see my weight go down even more kind of inspired me. I was like, wow, I never thought I would get to this point. Like I had been obese for like most of my childhood. So I was like seeing the changes in my body, being able to see the veins in my arms. I was like really pumped about all that.
100%. What's going on? It's Ben here from Step Pals. I just want to thank you for watching the How I Lost the Weight podcast. Every episode, we bring on people who lost the weight to share their tactics, their stories, and their mindsets to help you achieve the very same thing. So if you're looking to hear from people like you who achieved what you're looking to achieve to reach your weight loss goals, make sure to click the subscribe button so that you don't miss a future episode. Super happy to have you. And with that out of the way, let's get back to the episode. That's amazing, man. And yeah, when you start to see the changes, it becomes addicting in a positive way, and you want to continue that. You don't want to lose it, and all that gets a lot better. So were you when you started working out a lot, were you working out with your wife, or is that a recent thing?
Um, so I actually, yeah, once I got back from the mission trip in Brazil, um, we didn't get married for like another year. I was just
Okay.
going to college. We were dating for a little bit, but I got kind of into the gym and into running. I would say maybe like close to a year before we got married.
Got it.
So yeah. But once we got married, she kind of just got like it just came to her too because I was already in that lifestyle, and so
Totally.
um, she at first it took her a while to kinda get used to that, like, the idea of calorie tracking and, you know, just being more fit and healthy, but she started to really enjoy it. It was hard at first for her to kind of change gears, but she started to really be like, "Wow, I'm actually enjoying going to the gym with you. It's actually really fun, it makes me feel better." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's really a good a good change to have."
Totally. It's that first bit of resistance that's always the hardest part to build the habit, to make the change, especially if you've been one way for a very long time. It's really hard to do that.
Mhm.
Obviously, you had that kickoff point of the trip that you were on, that where you lost all that weight. If someone is, say, like, in the States and they can't go on a long trip like that, how do you recommend they get started with their weight loss journey?
I think, calorie tracking is the way to go because it's almost a guarantee. If you learn how to do it and you understand what it actually is, it really
Mhm.
just makes weight loss come down to a science. It's, like, guaranteed if you actually do it the right way. And then also walking. So, walking is just so much more sustainable than running. Like, I still enjoy running, but you can do walking every day and not get burnout or tired.
To
Running, not the
different
same
story.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Your joints feel it and everything feels it, but walking is you can just keep going and going and going. Like, even if you're walking like 12K plus steps, like your body's still gonna be fine with that as long as you ease your way up to it. So definitely agree
Mhm,
with that. Walking's the workout I do every single day, and then I pile in workouts throughout the week on top of that. But the walking is really the anchor and the foundation that allows me to stay at a weight that I want to try to stay at.
mhm.
So when you discovered calorie tracking, how did for someone who's brand new to this, like how do they figure out how many calories they should be eating? And then what kind of tools do you use to make sure that you're doing everything the right way?
That's a good question. A lot of my clients ask the same thing. So you're gonna wanna I mean, usually anyone can access a TDEE calculator. You can just find that on Google, and gonna have you put in your height, your weight, your activity level, and based off of that, it's gonna give you a good estimate of what your total daily energy expenditure is. And so if you put that all that info in, it's gonna give you a good estimate, but it's not always gonna be accurate. So that's why in my program, I kinda help my clients find that, like, the closest number as possible by having them track their weight every day, and then also tracking everything they eat, because when you do those 2 things, you can see
Mm,
how their TDEE shifts from time to time, and so, yeah, when you're wanting to lose weight, you just eat in a deficit. So, for example, if you wanna lose weight at like a moderate pace, you would take 500 off of that TDEE. So, for example, my TDEE currently is, I think it's like 3,200 calories because I'm a pretty active person. Most 5'10" guys have a lower TDEE, but I get a lot of steps each day. So, I would just, if I wanted to lose weight at a good moderate pace, I would take 500 off of that. So it would be um 2,700, yeah, 2,700 calories per day. And that's if you do that every day, you're
you're gonna
gonna
lose
lose
weight.
weight. It's
Yeah.
like there's no way you're not going to unless you have like some thyroid problem.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and that's like definitely the truth. But for a lot of people who haven't done it yet, like they always say, like, "Oh, here's why it's not like that for me." But a lot of people they haven't done it the right way because there's usually a few mistakes that people make. What have you seen working with clients and whatnot? What are the biggest mistakes that people make when counting calories?
They drastically underestimate how many calories certain things can be, like spray, like cooking oils, peanut
Yes.
butter. People, they don't actually use a food scale. I've noticed that. They just maybe they eyeball it, and it just you can't do that. You like us as humans, we always underestimate things. And so once you actually use a food scale and put it on there, you'll see that, oh wow, this is a lot more calories than I thought it was.
No kidding. Yeah, there's so many secret calories, especially in like usually the tastiest foods, and there's tiny quantities with so many calories. We talked about this on the last episode of the podcast. We talked about with Alicia, talked about how like peanut butter is huge for that. Cooking oils, like you mentioned, are
Mhm.
they sneak up on you incredibly quickly. Sauces are another huge one too,
Yeah,
where people will be putting on like 400 or 500 calories of sauces and not
yeah.
even realize, which is
Even small things like
yes,
this is kind of off on a tangent, but my wife,
go yeah.
she always, tells me about this Reddit story she read once of this person who was gaining weight, and they're like, "I don't know why, I'm, like, not eating that much." And then, one of their friends was like, "What do you have right there?" And they were popping, like, a bunch of Tic Tacs, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I eat, like, four of these each day," and he's like, "That's why." 'Cause, like, even small things, if you eat them in a large quantity, those calories can add up.
They add up a lot, and that's why it's so important to once you figure out how many calories are in things, you start to make better choices with your food because you can think about, "Is this worth this many calories for you?" Right? And when you
Exactly.
think about it like that, a lot of foods, you're like, "That's a quarter of my day's calories for this food, like, that's definitely not worth it," and then you start making better decisions. But one thing I will say from following your content is that you make food that looks really good, and it's also calorie conscious. So how do you go about picking food that still tastes good, but allows you to stay within your macros?
That's a good question. So a lot of the time we like my wife and I at Camden, we search for really good recipes that look like they would taste good that we would want to eat every day because when we meal prep, we're gonna eat that for the whole week. So we want it to be
Mm.
good. If it's not, we're gonna be miserable. So
Yes.
I guess just finding foods that kind of like they're high in protein, but they also include certain things that we like. Like, we like cheese a lot, so we we make meals that have a lot of cheese. We also like kind of it's called calorie banking, so you can save, like, your
Mm,
calories for certain days, like, more calories than other days. A lot of people kind of have a negative view towards that because, like, "Oh, that's like an eating disorder," but it works for us,
mhm,
and it allows us to eat things that we really enjoy. Like, for example, one of our videos from, like, a month ago maybe, we ate some Krispy Kreme donuts, like, a whole box of them, each of us, and we were completely like, we were still losing weight. It's because we saved the calories for that day. It just people don't understand that it's really just comes down to simple math. Like, if you can save certain calories and it will allow you to eat whatever you want.
totally. That's the beauty of tracking calories, and you can do that. I think the most important thing, like, why we have this show in the first place is to show that you can achieve the goal that you want in a bunch of different ways, and that's kind of the whole point, right? Finding a way that works for you, and so, obviously, Caleb,
Exactly.
you found that you like to bank calories for a specific time to have more of an indulgence, and that's something
Mhm.
that is good for you, and it works for you, and that's really what it's all about is finding something that you enjoy and that's sustainable, right? Like, it
Yeah.
seems like I will say, obviously, I'm not with you every day, but when you're like posting and everything, it looks like you're enjoying everything and you're not really thinking about it that much. You're just going about it. You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah,
place you want to get to.
exactly. It just becomes natural. It I mean, a lot of people, I think, at the beginning when they're first starting to calorie track, it's really hard and
Hmm.
tedious, but once you start doing it for, like, months and months, it's really just it just becomes normal and you don't really even think about it.
How long did it take for you to where it started to become something you didn't have to think about?
It's a good question. I really only discovered how to truly calorie track the right way probably about yeah, like the beginning of this year, because last year I was like I was talking about earlier, I was eating healthy, but I didn't discover calorie tracking yet. And so that's when I kind of I was like, I had a binge eating disorder because I didn't know, like, I was trying to cut out whole food groups. I was trying to,
Mm.
not eat processed foods. And I was like a big believer of like seed oils are bad and that kind of stuff. And so I think just knowing that, I think it probably I would say, like, from when I started, probably took me, like, maybe a couple months just for it to become normal.
Got
So
it.
maybe,
Okay.
like, 2 or 3 months,
So that
but
if you're, go ahead.
no, sorry, you can keep going.
So if you're watching this, like, thing, it's going to take a little bit of time until it feels comfortable.
Yeah,
So
you
definitely get used
gotta
to that.
yeah, you gotta kinda just push your way through the beginning parts like we were talking about earlier, but it becomes, like, second nature once you do it long enough.
So in total, you're down from your highest, oh, like around 100 pounds, you said, correct?
Yeah, I was 265 pounds, and then I lost the 70 from, walking on my mission, and then I lost, I think it was 35 more. So, yeah, 105 in total, but I just say 100 plus because
It's a nice
it's
round number.
yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing, dude. That's actually so incredible. I think the coolest part is how much weight you lost from just simple things that you weren't even thinking about. Like, that shows the power of just doing the right things. If you're walking that much and you're eating better food, so you can lose 70 pounds without even trying that hard, like, that's pretty insane. Because I think a lot of people, they get so fixated on the fact that they're overweight, where they think about it so much and they start doing a lot of the things that keep them overweight. So I think there is like beauty in terms of just like separating yourself from it and just believing in what you're doing, that it can work. Like, if you're walking enough and you're hitting your calories, that you will get to that point. But it does take like being mindful of at the first point of saying, I'm doing this, right? So you got to this point, you lost a bunch of weight. You got, where does the gym come into this? Like, at what point did you start working out a lot?
I would say I think it was, um, April of 2024, I think.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm still technically actually, I don't know, I think a beginner in the gym is considered, like, a year or below, so I'm technically intermediate, but, like, still pretty new to the gym.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I'm really into it. I enjoy it a lot. I still learning new things every day. I think that's something really important for people that are getting into fitness is realizing that it's okay to be wrong at the gym, not know form. Like, it's
Totally.
just how everyone is.
Exactly, it's all a learning curve, and I would say, man, kudos to you. You've achieved a lot in a short amount of time at the gym, man. That's amazing to see, so good for you, and
Thank
yeah,
you.
getting in there can be scary. So for people who, like, are like a fish out of water in the gym scares them, like, how do you recommend that they dip their toes in there and start going to the gym?
I think watching YouTube videos on how to do proper form is really helpful.
Mhm,
I personally, I like watching Jeff Nippard. I don't know if
mhm.
you know
He's
yeah.
great. Yeah, I love Jeff.
He always has really good advice on how to have good form while staying safe and, um, optimizing muscle growth and all that. It's just really informational. So, definitely check out YouTube videos, whether it be like, it could be a different YouTuber, but as long as they know their stuff and they're showing you how to do it properly, that's always a great way to learn.
100%. Yeah, mental reps can go a long way so that you don't feel as awkward when you're in there, and then you're gonna be safer, have more fun, and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So, you mentioned that when you're growing up, you were overweight for a lot of your life. How did your life change after you lost the weight?
It's a good question. I would say the biggest thing for me is just my confidence skyrocketed. Like, I did not have that much confidence before when I was obese. I wasn't as social either. I've noticed that I'm a lot more social now. I My energy levels so much higher. I'm able to just do so much more in the day, not get exhausted, not have so much brain fog, just have a lot more mental clarity. It's just I don't know, every aspect, just life as a whole is so much better.
This episode of How I Lost the Weight is brought to you by Step Pals. Step Pals is a walking accountability game that works a lot like Tamagotchi. You adopt a virtual pet, you set a daily step goal, and you can only keep your Step Pal alive by hitting your daily steps and taking care of them. So it keeps you accountable to your steps, makes it a lot more fun, and there's a whole lot of nostalgia. And you can try out Step Pals for free on Apple or Android. Links are down below. Go give it a try, and happy walking. Let's get back into the episode. Totally. Yeah, no, it makes everything a lot more enjoyable, and yeah, you feel a lot better, and then how you feel inside projects out to the world, and just things start finding you, more positive things start going like that, and all that stuff. So love to hear that. Glad that's 105 pounds is still remarkable, man. It's crazy to think about. That's like a small person, you know what I mean? Like that you just lost, right? And that's such an
Mhm.
achievement. So that's super amazing. But it's why we have people like Caleb on the show is to show that it is possible. Like you can do that, and here being around people who are aligned with where you're trying to go is really important too. So definitely, if you haven't followed Caleb yet, go follow him there. He's posting his journey with his wife all the time, and you guys just announced that your wife's pregnant, correct?
Yep, she is.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Congrats to you both. That's amazing. And so I guess because she was eating in a calorie deficit and you were eating in a surplus, right? So is that now changed or is she still doing what's her
Yeah,
plan?
so I'm still in a surplus and she is currently we've looked into it and we did some research together and we haven't been able to meet with her OBGYN yet, but currently, just to stay safe, she's eating at maintenance, so
Got it.
she's just she lost 12 pounds so far since we started the challenge, so
Wow, it's
she's
amazing.
done great. So
Yeah.
she's just kinda sitting at around 202 pounds, and once we talk to our OBGYN, if he says that it's safe, then we're gonna continue, the challenge, but, even if he says no, we're still gonna continue after she has the baby, so
Yeah, yeah.
her weight loss journey is not over, it's just on a temporary hold.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also important to consider too, is that life does sometimes get in the way of what your weight loss goals were. And that's something you can't really control. So it's not worth getting mad about. It's about seeing the amazing thing. You're about to have a baby. Like that's so exciting. That's the bigger deal. And
Yeah.
then get back to it once the baby's happy, healthy, and you guys are all good. So that's amazing to see. And congrats to you guys again. So
Thank you.
accountability is such a massive thing when it comes to weight loss in terms of controlling your system. We built Step Pals for that very reason to keep you accountable to your steps. But it really is like a lifestyle change. And so, do you have any sort of tips for how people can create this sense of accountability to the goal that they want to hit?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I apply in my coaching is kind of a mindset shift, a paradigm shift, if you will. So just showing them that the reason that they haven't been able to achieve their goals before is because they haven't had enough self-worth. They haven't believed in themselves actually. And as cliche as that might sound, it's true. That's what's holding them back.
Completely. Yeah. When you believe it and you genuinely believe it, it becomes a lot easier to achieve because then it's just steps that you're knocking off. It's not like this big arbitrary, like, will I get there kind of thing. When you have a plan in place and you believe that you can do it, it becomes a lot more attainable. And it's really important that you set that goal, right? Like I'm sure that you once you have a shining star that you're going towards, it becomes pretty easy to just put one foot in front of the other and then get there eventually. But if you don't have a goal, period, then you can't build a plan to get to that goal, and this makes the whole thing a lot scarier. So you mentioned that you used to have binge eating, and that's something that I've struggled with throughout my life as well. What did you do to overcome that?
That's a good question. So, I think when my wife and I were married, I still kind of had that problem, and she's the one that helped me kind of, heal that.
Mhm,
She kinda helped me realize that cutting out whole food groups is just not sustainable, and it's not it's not something that you're gonna be able to stick to in the long term, and so that kinda just got my gears turning in my head, and I was like, "Well, then how am I going to, control my weight, know that no matter what, I'm going to, not gain the weight back?" And that kind of led me to calorie tracking. So
mm,
I just kind of searched online, tried to figure out how I could still eat foods like that, processed, sugary, high calorie foods.
and stay the
And
weight.
yeah,
Got
so
it.
that's kind of what healed it. That's why I stress calorie tracking so much because it's kind of healed a part of me that
Mm.
really was not not healthy and not a very toxic relationship with food. It's
Ye
healed that.
Yeah, and that's a perfect word for it too. It is the relationship to food, right? Because it's the role that it's
Mhm.
played throughout your life, and you go back to that. So for when you would binge eat, was there specific triggers that would lead to it?
Yeah, it was always just the high calorie processed sugary stuff. It was always because I would be eating really well, like whole foods for most of the time, and then there would be, a weekend, a party, we go out and get ice cream, and then
Mhm.
I get some of
Snowball.
that sugar, and I'm like, "Wow, this is good, I want more." And then I eat more, and then I'm like, "Oh, wow, I'm over my calories for the day. Oh, might as well go over a
Just
little
go
bit more."
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and then soon you step on the scale and you've gained like 10 pounds of water weight, and you think that's all fat, and it just causes a really toxic cycle.
It's hard on the brain for sure. If someone does go through a binge like that, what should they do after the binge?
That's a good question. Um, I always tell all of my clients to just act like it didn't happen, go right back to eating the way that you would if you were, if you hadn't done it. So, because that's gonna turn the binge cycle off because
Mm,
it doesn't make you have this idea that you have to make up for it. Because when you have that idea, then it
doesn't
just
go well.
makes it worse and worse and worse.
Yes, so often people will try to solve an extreme with another extreme, and it just creates a different problem, didn't solve the other one, and so that's really, really good advice. So I love to see that. So when you were growing up, did you ever think that you would be like a content creator and a coach? Was that ever in the cards?
No, I never would have thought that, and I still think it's crazy today that I am, but it's just what I love, it's what I'm passionate about, so that's why I do it. I'm very grateful for the opportunity and being able to help other people because I wanna help as many people get out of that lifestyle that I had before and discover how much better life can be.
Totally, and that comes through in all your videos, man. You can tell that you care, you can tell that you're happy by life, and I think that's pretty infectious, and so I'm sure that you're only gonna continue to motivate more and more people, and hopefully you and your wife and your future child can all help to do that too. You make good content, it's easy to watch, and there's a good message behind it, so it's all awesome that way.
Thanks, man.
Of course, and so for anybody watching this before we hang up, do you have any sort of, like, hacks or tips that you do on a consistent basis that have really allowed you to lose the weight and then maintain it off?
Um, that's a good question. My wife and I, we always talk about this hack because it really is a hack, but diet soda is really a good hack for weight loss because it keeps you full. It kind of it tastes really sweet, so it can get rid of sugar cravings. 0 calories. I mean, it's hard to beat. And I used to think that it wasn't good for you, you know, because of like all the chemicals. But there's been so much research that shows that that's not true, and it really can help you lose a lot of weight because you know it makes you more full, and it tastes great. So diet
What's your
soda,
what's
yeah.
your favorite kind of soda?
Oh, that's a good question. I really like Fresca.
Okay,
Those
I
are
like Fresca.
those are really good. I also my wife and I just really like Dr. Pepper,
I
the Dr.
love
Pepper
Dr. Pepper
Zero.
Zero. That's my
Yeah.
favorite. That's my
So
favorite.
that's those 2 are probably our favorites, but there's
Amazing.
so many good ones out there.
100%. Yeah, that could
Um,
definitely be a hack 'cause it's especially in moderation, like, it's not gonna there's so like you said, there's so many studies on it in terms of its impact, and even when there were negative effects, they ate, like, so much of it that it was like no human being could even possibly consume that much, so, yeah, I think you'll be fine to have the diet soda if it helps you lose the weight.
exactly. I'm trying to think any other tips that I would give. I think just eating high volume foods, that's one of the
Can you
best
explain
things.
what that is?
Yeah, so hi high volume foods are foods that I mean, it sounds like what it is, but, foods that are typically low calorie, but very satiating. So, for example, like romaine lettuce, that's something that's very high volume and doesn't have very many calories. It does have calories, but they're very low. Trying to think of other things like, Greek yogurt, that you're gonna eat that, and you're gonna feel really full if you eat, like, a big bowl of it, and it's high in protein, it's gonna keep you really satiated, like rice cakes, those kinda things, because when you eat things like that, it's going to keep you more full, and it's gonna be easier to eat less calories each day because of that.
For sure. When you think about volume per the calorie, you can eat foods that allow you to spend more time eating so that you feel more full and the whole thing is a lot less painful. So that's definitely a big thing as someone like myself who likes to eat. Like high volume foods are always a very important thing for me because I like the whole ceremony of eating. So if I can pack in a lot more volume into the meal, then it'll be a lot better that way. So that's a great tip, man.
Mhm.
Anything else?
Um,
Should they
I
follow you on
think
Instagram just to see more?
yeah, follow on Instagram to see more, but one other thing is just I've already said this, but calorie tracking really is a hack in itself because it kind of just guarantees that you're gonna lose the weight if you stay consistent. It's really just the consistency that most people struggle with. But if you stay consistent calorie tracking, you are gonna see results.
Totally. 100%. Yeah, consistency is the name of the game, and to do that, you want some accountability. So for walking, definitely use Step Pals for accountability, and then for the calorie tracking and the weight loss, you can work with Caleb directly. So how do people work with you for that?
Perfect. Yeah. So in my bio on my page, Cal Balance, I have a link tree. Uh, it's Beacons AI or whatever. So you click on that link, and then it has my one-on-one coaching application. So you'll just go in there, fill in your information, and I'll review it. And if it seems like you would be a good fit for me, then give you a DM and we'll talk about it.
Sweet. So definitely go check that out. Everything will be linked down below. So go give him a follow, and then if you're interested in the coaching, follow that link. Go fill out the form. Thanks so much for hopping on, Caleb. I really appreciate you. Of
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It was a lot of
course.
fun.